forecast maps are showing bad weather on the way. So I'm up at dawn along with the dolphins, and we're westbound down the Florida Keys from Marathon in search of a better sheltered Anchorage. It's the 12th of January, and we are anchored in the Niles Channel here of Newfound Harbor. And the more popular Anchorage is upwind there, the Newfound Harbor Anchorage. And I'm going to try to get there tomorrow. The problem is it's kind of a narrow channel that leads in, and with east northeasterly winds, it's a dead upwind beat in a narrow channel. So I don't too much care to do that. So, but these winds are supposed to back north and then northwest. So if it doesn't back enough by tomorrow morning, we'll sail over tomorrow afternoon when it's supposed to come northwest. So this morning's surprise project was the bronze pin to the freshwater pump in the head. Chafed through and broke, so I just replaced it with a bronze machine screw. So see how that works out. Alright, we appear to be back in service here. Not too good on the shining job, but there was a lot of corrosion on that. The weather forecast said should start coming in from the northwest between about 2 and 3 this afternoon. It's a little after 2, and this wind just came up out of the northwest, about 8 knots or so. So we're going to move over to the Newfound Harbor Anchorage. Sunday, January 16th. So here we go. Yeah, look at that. Jesus. Oh, feeling hot cold. Hang on, guys, hang on. That's 40 knots. So the guidebook says, with, quote, some ingenuity, you might be able to tie your dinghy up right beneath the overpass of Route 1. And from there it's about a mile walk to a fully stocked Winn Dixie supermarket on Big Pine Key. So I'm going to have to give that a try, because I could use some fresh provisions at this point. Not exactly a yacht club dinghy dock, but it might work. Ah, success! I'm back with the loot. Now I just have to figure out how to get it all back in the dinghy, and myself back in the dinghy, without ending up taking a bath in a mangrove swamp. Too tough. Alright, now I can get myself on. This will be a win. That's a pretty tame cormorant. Alright, buddy, you got it all to yourself now. Well, there's what came up on the anchor, Newfound Harbor. And I had to crank the windlass for several minutes to pull that out. So that's good firm mud. That's why nobody dragged when these thunderstorms went through. So that's good. Ahoy, everybody! It is the 19th of January, 2022. We departed Newfound Harbor a couple of hours ago. We're on our way to Key West. And we've got pretty much picture perfect sailing out here. East to northeast winds, about 10 to 12 knots. Can't quite steer the course. It's a little deep on a broad reach, but we're close. And the only negative is it looks like by the time we get to Key West, the current's going to turn against us. And the current in that channel between Wisteria Island and Fleming Key, that gets up to about 2 knots. So that's a question of what the wind does, whether or not we'll be able to get in there. You can see I pulled up that white mud there. And I really had to crank on the windlass to get that anchor out. So Newfound Harbor definitely has good holding. So that's good to know, because I've been several places around the Florida Keys that do not have good holding, one of which is Key West. So I'll take a mooring in Garrison Bight there and inspect the mooring. That's only about 10 feet deep and the water's pretty clear, so you can do your own mooring inspection. I learned about that one the hard way a couple years ago when the mooring I was on broke. And it was just the hawser had chafed right through, right where it goes through the float. The general plan is to stay 3 or 4 days in Key West. We're in the wintertime, so we got these northers, these fronts. We got to watch for these fronts coming through. And even though you're on a mooring in Key West, when you get north, any northerly component winds of any strength, that can get pretty rough. You can get a pretty big wind chop in there. And it's just not a good place. But the plan is after Key West to go out to the Dry Tortugas, probably stop at Boca Grande Key on the way, and then double back and start heading back northeast again. So that's the general plan. Because of the restrictions, it's not looking like I'm going to do the Bahamas this year. The latest I heard is now you only have 72 hours to submit a negative COVID test. Which, I mean, it just makes it almost impossible. Now, I've been told that the officials in the Bahamas, as long as you submit the test within a reasonable amount of time, usually they'll give you a pass. But you know, again, if you get the wrong official on the wrong day, it could really, it could be, you know, it could mean that I would just have to turn around and go back to Florida. So I decided I'm just going to skip the Bahamas this year, and hopefully all this pandemic stuff is going to go away. I've been hoping that for a year now, so we'll see what happens. And I'm going to have to fire up my Iridium Go again to get any kind of weather out there. Because once you get west of Key West, there's no more cell towers. So your cell phone kicks out. I remember I could almost get reception out to Boca Grande Key, but it was very, basically, if I remember when I was approaching Boca Grande, it's basically down to 1 bar of signal and cutting in and out. So that's pretty much Boca Grande Key is where your cell reception's gonna run out. And then anything west of that is you're at sea. So anyway, good coffee here this morning, and we'll enjoy the pleasant sailing and see what kind of challenges Key West is going to. Hopefully there'll be an available mooring, because if there's no moorings available, then I got to find a place to anchor. As I say, Key West does not offer a lot of good anchoring. So anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.